and now the management is very confident of expanding their margins further. Let's invite our first corporate on the show. BLS International reported a very good set of Q2 numbers with a revenue growth of almost 88% on a year-on-year basis and an increase in profits by 85%. The acquisition of Zero Mass Private Limited also boosted the company's top-line growth in Q2. Note that China is a key market for the company. So Shikhar Aggarwal, who's the joint managing director at the company, joins us now to discuss the earnings. Shikhar, thanks a lot for joining in on the show. Just wanted to start by asking you about some of these marquee deals that you've signed up recently, like processing German visas in North America and Mexico. How will this boost your growth? I mean, you're already sitting on a revenue growth of 70% in the first half of the year. What do you think you can do in the second half?
Definitely. As you know, BLS International now is in 64 countries. We're working with more than 46 client governments, and it takes a lot of time to get these contracts with the governments. In the last few years, we have won contracts with the Thai embassy in Kenya, within India. We have won contracts with the German government. So the contract with the German government is the first time outsourcing, where we have to open 10 offices in USA and 2 in Mexico. So since it is the first time outsourcing, we don't really know how many numbers we will get, but it is really gives us a big foothold in the European market. Germany being at the epicenter of the visa outsourcing market, definitely it's the first time outsourcing for us. So we will want to prove ourselves right. And as we grow, I think our numbers and volumes and revenue will increase. And also point to be noted is that we've got it at a higher service charges. More than 30 euro per application is what we will get from our German visas.
This 30 euro per application, what would it normally compare with, and what will be the direct impact on your margins? We understand this should be margin accretive, right?
Correct. So as you know, currently, for our Spanish government, we are working at 15.45 euros. So it is almost at a double price that we have won this contract because of our increase in our technical capabilities. Definitely, it will be margin accretive. We do have existing presence for the Spanish government in USA. So we will be utilizing some of those offices, combining some of those offices. So definitely, as economies of scale come in, it leads to an increase in revenue and margin for the company.
Okay. You've also said earlier that e-governance businesses along with BC together are sizable enough to be pursued with a deeper focus. Any more acquisitions beyond what you've done recently with ZMPL? And if yes, what would be the amount that you're earmarked for acquisitions?
So as you know, now our kitty from the digital business service segment, as we call it, which includes the banking correspondent and the e-governance business, is almost 15% of the revenue of the company post acquisition of Zero Mass. Which gives us a revenue of 180 to 200 crore every year, plus an EBITDA of 20 to 25 crores. So that is, that was the reason that we thought that it is good now to focus on this segment as a separate segment. So we are looking at acquisition in both visa outsourcing and e-governance space, because the revenue model of the company is essentially the same. It is upfront collection of fees from the citizens with no dependence on the government for money.
Okay, so you're looking at acquisitions in both the business lines, visa and consulate services, as well as your e-governance business, which you now call digital services. Just about this, e-governance business, what are the kind of margins that you have, the margins that you enjoy in your digital business, which is business correspondence and the e-governance?
Correct. So see, the revenue potential from these businesses is quite huge because the volumes are much more than the visa business in this business. The revenue per application is definitely less compared to our contracts where we collect money in dollars and euros. But the margins from the contracts are quite similar, 14 to 15% EBITDA margin, which we plan to increase year on year, because the same people who are coming into our centers now, we are targeting to sell them different kind of services. We have had some success, be it insurance or travel tickets, so these kind of services will definitely lead to an increase in margin. And, as other than the inorganic growth, there are a lot of opportunities in the visa outsourcing market. In the last 2 years, we have won a lot of new contracts with Estonia, Germany, Portugal, and now these big governments in the European, in the UK, in Canada, they're all coming out with the tenders wherein we have been working with them for a couple of years. So we are quite hopeful in winning certain market share. So as we go along, the revenue from those contracts gets added, geographies of Russia and China gets added, gets opened up. So definitely there will be an increase in revenue and profitability of the company.
Okay, and any value-added services that you can look at apart from what you're doing currently? Because your revenue per application, as we discussed earlier, is up about 20 to 30%. What are the other avenues that you perhaps have to, in terms of like value-added services?
Correct. So we are looking at constantly upgrading our stream of offering services. In e-governance business, there is different kind of services that we offer. In our visa business, there is different kind of services that we offer. Now, post-COVID, the consumer demand has greatly changed. People are now opting for more mobile biometric services. They do not want to visit the center. They are opting for courier delivery services, prime time services. On the e-governance front, we are doing interesting tie-ups with different companies. We are assisting in e-commerce. We are selling insurance products. We are selling different kind of products, from our centers, wherein we have high footfall in tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
Just a word on the margins. Margins now stand at 15.9%. You have been consistently improving them because of the kind of value-added services that you provided and the cost optimization. Can you talk a bit about this cost optimization? Where is it that you brought down cost? And do you think you can further lower your operational costs?
See, definitely during COVID, all the companies, including us, had a realignment of costs because, that was a time when we had to really think out of the box. So we also got to know that certain costs that we can operate certain businesses at a lower cost. So those costs, we are trying not for them to come back, but because of also economies of scale that have come in because of the new contracts that we are winning, in the visa space and e-governance space, we are utilizing the same existing offices for more applications and more revenue. So I think both these factors are responsible for, increase in margin for
Any
us.
target margin? 15.9% is where it stands at. What could be the sustainable long-term margins?
See, definitely right now we would want to maintain the margins that we have achieved, in the last quarter. And going forward, our objective is always to improve our margins with two factors, which is increase in revenue per application and control over our costs. So definitely there could be an increase in margin, but at this moment, I would say that we want to maintain the margins that we have.
Okay, you want to maintain the margins that you have. All the best. Thanks a lot for joining in. That's BLS International Services. Let's slip into a quick break. Up next, we'll discuss what's buzzing in the commodity space with Manisha Gupta. Stay with us.